One of the biggest challenges a creative leader has to face is how to keep the product fresh, how to make little changes that will ensure the durability and longevity of the new arrival, and above all, in this project-driven world, how to keep the troupe motivated between big projects. For this one, I decided to ask our artists and our employees what they thought. The number one answer, the hard-working boss is the best model, particularly when there's a relatively young employee base, because people do watch what the boss is doing and how he or she is contributing creatively. He or she is constantly receiving and encouraging employees' creative ideas and feedback in a concrete fashion, and he or she also recognizes that there may be many different ways to the same end result, but which ensure this notion of shared creative ownership. As an individual, as an artist, as a designer or creative leader, you have to commit yourself to looking critically at your product from an outside perspective. That is, from the point of view of your consumer. In our case, our artistic directors sit in the house, in the theater, every single night. They watch the show and they listen to the comments that our spectators make during and after each presentation. They're continually asking themselves what we can do better, and because we're in live entertainment, most often we'll try it. Staying connected with your end product also means supporting its ongoing research and development over the long haul and continually questioning its relevance in today's ever-changing world. Does my product still fit the demands of the market? An excellent example is Saltimbanco. It's 15 years old. It's one of the oldest shows on the face of the planet. It's very successful, but before we sent it to Brazil for the first time last year, we sent our marketing team down there to make sure that the urban cosmopolitan theme of Saltimbanco in 1992 still fit the needs of the Brazilian market 15 years later. When they came back, we needed to tweak the show. We tweaked the show, and Saltimbanco was successful. And finally, by exposing your employees to your product, what I call see the show, wear the clothes, drive the car, you're encouraging their sense of ownership, cultivating their pride, and sharing your success with them. The third door is really about what Cirque is all about: treasure hunting and creative transformation. In Cirque's case, the company's origins in street performance go a long way in explaining the type of individual with whom we seek to play and create. We don't work, we just play and create. The first Cirques were outgoing risk-takers, open-minded, free-spirited, creative characters who were, for the most part, self-taught, many of them never even having made it to university. They lived a very nomadic lifestyle, but nonetheless showed proof of a tough-minded entrepreneurial spirit, and they were most often qualified in society as being marginal and adventurous thrill seekers. And the good thing is, they still are today. However, successive generations of artists, designers, technicians, and employees have served to shape Cirque and reinforce some of those qualities. Wave 2 in the late 1980s consisted of acrobatic circus and theater-based performers. With these individuals came more refined techniques or specialties, increased discipline, I would say, thankfully, a strong sense of teamwork, and a more defined relationship with the paying spectator, because we weren't street buskers anymore. And then, in the early 90s, came the wave of athletes and coaches from sport. They brought with them a high-performance mentality, intense, ferocious personal discipline, and a focus on the individual as opposed to the team. And having performed mostly for judges and for points, their creativity had often been stifled by the rules of their sport. But arriving at Cirque, they became ardent apprentices. In 1992, we set up our first creation studio and headquarters in an old locomotive workshop, and we implemented our first cohesive casting and training strategy. The question was then, as it is today, how do you capitalize on the remarkable but highly divergent qualities of these distinctive groups in order to create new entertainment hybrids and build a successful business. At Cirque, we don't do recruiting or talent identification in the traditional sense of those terms. In fact, our casting department and now our new creative synergy division have two distinct mandates. Firstly, to scour the world in search of ideas and inspirations that become the driving force behind our creative process. And secondly, to cast a line, to go fishing for talented individuals who will ensure the artistic and creative richness and longevity of our shows. In fact, we're treasure hunters seeking out the most precious of pearls. The casting process is a two-way street. Cirque has its basic needs. The candidate makes his or her own offering. Of course, like most companies, including yours, we are looking for certain qualities or competencies for each job position. However, we're looking for added value, for potential, a little craziness, but something extraordinary that will help us push the limits of what we're attempting to do and make that individual a true and unique contributor to our creative process. Casting is therefore a year-round and worldwide activity. We maintain an active database with over 20,000 individual entries, which we update regularly, and we organize closed or private auditions and not cattle calls. The difference being that a cattle call serves to determine whether you can do precisely what a choreographer or producer wants at a given point in time, like in the film A Chorus Line with everybody with the numbers and they're all doing the same choreography, while a closed audition seeks out hidden talent and evaluates individual potential.